Congratulations. Here tonight is a special man.
Nigga with an A on the end. Well, I think I can now. Isn't that the point? Because it's not racist.
Beloved by millions of Americans.
How many of you guys, in your own experience with women, have learned that no means yes if you know how to spot it?
Meanwhile, Al Sharpton goes out the front door. Yes, I spoke a little Negro dialect there. I can do that when I want to. In and out the front door.
He is the greatest fighter and winner that you will ever meet.
They call it sexual objectification, demeaning, not taking women seriously, but it's just the way of the world.
Is the cute kid in the White House? No, that's not the kid. That's the kid.
What does it say about the college co-ed Susan Fluke, who goes before a congressional committee and essentially says that she must be paid to have sex? What does that make her? It makes her a slut, right? Makes her a prostitute. She wants to be paid to have sex. If we're going to have to pay for this, then we want something in return, Ms. Fluke, and that would be the videos of all this sex posted online so we can see.
In recognition of all that you have done for our nation.
You're a foreigner. Shut your mouth or get out. Political correct society is
there you have it, brothers and sisters, ladies and gentlemen. That is just a few clips of the things that this very, very sick individual, who not only he was mentally and spiritually sick before, now he is physically sick now, has said over the years. And we just wanted to lay that out there because a lot of people took issue with him getting the so-called Medal of Freedom, which may have to be renamed the Medal of Lies, the Medal of Oppression, but certainly the Medal of Freedom no longer applies with this honor having been defiled by it being given to Rush Limbaugh. Now, we want to move quickly, if we can, to the next issue, and that is there was the issue of our brother Kobe dying in a helicopter crash. Freak accident that is still under investigation. A man who had a 20-year career in the NBA, and he had 4 beautiful daughters, and unfortunately our brother went down in the helicopter, and he and others, including his daughter, died in the helicopter crash. Now, Gayle King and Oprah Winfrey have been the attack dogs against the black male for decades. Oprah certainly, but then Gayle King as of late has in earnest joined in any kind of way trying to bring down the image of black males in the media. Unfortunately, that's been the job that they've been on. I think Monique had an issue. I think Toni Braxton had an issue with how she was handled. But it seems as though what we have is Oprah Winfrey to gain favor with other people in the media who don't look like us, attacking us in the name of objectivity. So it's kind of like some of the early black judges who were appointed to the bench in the name of being fair to everybody. They would often give longer sentences to black people. And I guess in the name of being fair to everybody, we see that Gayle King goes on the attack. Now she is able to hang out and be very friendly with a lot of white men that are accused of sexual crimes and sexual harassment and all these other things. She has been very friendly with Harvey Weinstein, very friendly with others in the media that have been accused of the same thing that blacks are. But in this interview, which I hope we can run, Lisa Leslie defended Kobe, but as you see, like a subtle attack dog, Gayle King continued to press the issue. And of course, you know, Snoop Dogg went all the way off on Gayle King. Gayle King has received all kinds of, hate messages, but I believe it's in response to the hate that she put out against black men in the name of objectivity. And both Oprah and Gail are anything but objective. Let's see if we can run that clip, because I know we've been fraught with some technical difficulty, but we're going to try to get the video out so that people can see this thing in context as we.
She was going to be in the WNBA.
It's been said that his legacy is complicated because of a sexual assault charge, which was dismissed in 2003, 2004. Is it complicated for you as a woman, as a WNBA player?
It's not complicated for me at all. Even if there's a few times that we've been at a club at the same time. Kobe's not the kind of guy, never been like, you know, Lisa, go get that girl, or tell her, or send her this. I have other NBA friends that are like that. Kobe's, he was never like that. I just never have ever seen him being the kind of person that would do something to violate a woman or be aggressive in that way. That's just not the person that I know.
But Lisa, you wouldn't see it though. As his friend, you wouldn't see it.
And that's possible. I just don't believe that. And I'm not saying things didn't happen. I just don't believe that things didn't happen with force.
Is it even a fair question to talk about it, considering he's no longer with us and that it was resolved? Or is it really part of his history?
I think that the media should be more respectful. At this time, it's like if you had questions about it, you've had many years to ask him that. I don't think it's something that we should keep hanging over his legacy. I mean, it went to trial.
Yeah, well, it was dismissed because the victim in the case refused to testify, so it was dismissed.
And I think that's how we should leave it.
We must take back the streets.
You get a sense that in a time of tragedy, you have a situation where look like we got a little feedback, but we got some serious we got some serious technical problems in the studio today for some reason, and I don't know. It would be hard for something like this to occur so severely without some help and assistance. And it's just one of those interesting things that when we come in here, it's totally different from when others are in here. But neither here nor there. Of course, we came on a half hour before we knew we were, and all these other things. But now getting back to the subject at hand, and that is, God is our only friend. We do not have friends in the media. Okay, we do not have any friends in the White House. We don't really have loving friends, really, most of the time in the political realm. So people try to get our vote, they try to get our support, they use us at the ballot box, and then they kick us in the butt time and time again. That's the history. And I want us as a people to be a self-respecting people. People who, in the name of self-respect, will not give our support to people who have a history of doing things that are in contravention to the best interests of our people. And so, if self-respect is problematic for some people, this may be the wrong show for you. But we're all about self-respect and self-love, which must be taught. I believe there was a little boy or a little girl in New Iberia, right?
Yes.
That died from gunfire. Fire. So the idea that we don't need to teach self-love in the black community is totally crazy. That's the number one thing we need. We need to teach love for God and also love for self as a people in order to move this thing forward. Now, Gayle King was absolutely wrong for coming with that particular question. She tried to throw her network under the bus, but no, you asked the question, and by your own admission, you insisted that part about a false rape allegation, which everybody, if you look at it objectively, you know it was absolutely a false lie against Kobe. So this person was a money grabbing person, an opportunistic person who tried to make some money and get herself some publicity. Okay, we understand that Kobe should not have indulged in the act as a married man. However, some of you who will criticize Kobe support Donald Trump, who pays off porn stars. So we don't even need to go there. If you support Donald Trump, you can't even talk about sexual morality at all. We got preachers that are preaching for Donald Trump and saying that Donald Trump is in line with the will of God. We got all the evangelicals who are lined up with Donald Trump, a man who lies every minute. Who I think we're up to 30,000 lies now that have been told since he was inaugurated. So, you know, the hypocrisy of the evangelical voter, the hypocrisy of the evangelical church has been exposed for what it was and what it always has been, and that is white supremacy. And of course, we got the issue with the Saints. Evidence shows that the executives from the NFL Saints football team conspired with the Catholic Church to perhaps protect pedophile priests and concealing the crimes of these priests. And let me just say this. When they talk about credibly accused priests, a list of people who are credibly accused, what that is a euphemism for when somebody makes a credible accusation, that means they make an accusation that is believable, that is true. So after an investigation, that means these people are guilty, according to what the church has been able to uncover. So they put out a list of guilty priests or priests that they believe are guilty. And then you have all of this colluding to put all of this pedophilia that's going on behind it. And the church needs to protect children, not be a child sex ring. The largest child sex ring in the world happens to a lot of times be the church. I mean, the Catholic Church is an international child sex ring in a lot of cases, to where you got priests that abuse sometimes 200 children. And it's not just in one state or one country. This thing is all in Latin America. It's in Italy. It's in France. This is an epidemic with the church. So we as I said before, God is our only friend, God and ourselves, and unity is our only solution. Now I want to move really, really quickly, and we want to talk about the entrance of a man by the name of Bloomberg into this presidential race. Now, you know that we brought up Joe Biden, who wrote the crime bill. We talked about Hillary Clinton, who championed the crime bill, who called our children super predators. And of course, you know that in the, I guess, emotion of attempting to elect a Democrat in Bill Clinton and to unseat George Herbert Walker Bush, in our short-sightedness, we didn't see the handwriting on the wall of a racist bastard from Arkansas, along with his evil wife, getting into that White House and promoting policies which were absolutely destructive to black families and black communities. Remember that Ronald Reagan in the 80s had already brought crack in. Ronald Reagan brought crack in. I'm going to say this again. Ronald Reagan and the CIA under Ronald Reagan, along with the advice of George Bush, they brought crack in, and it's right there for you to see in the congressional hearings. You can go on YouTube, you can go on C-SPAN, where people will testify that they use profits from crack cocaine that were being sold to people in America to fund wars in Latin America, and that they worked hard to make sure that the money was not traceable. So here it is, they sold crack to you, got you to sell it, changed conscious rap to gangster rap, changed from I'm black and I'm proud to B's and H's, you understand? And the whole idea changed in rap, and then they glorified that culture and dropped this crack right here on you. And then the prison industrial complex came really to the forefront during the Clinton administration. Now, Joe Biden was the author of most of the bill that Bill Clinton signed into law in 1994. That's just the bottom line. And he did it to get a little bit of the white vote and at the expense of black people. Now, some people in leadership have been stuck on stupid. Our brother Bobby Rush has admitted that his vote for the crime bill was the worst mistake of his life. Well, our brother, along with others, are about to make another very big mistake in endorsing. If you endorse either Biden or Bloomberg, you're a fool. I'm going to say it again. I know that's strong words. You might be thinking to yourself, how can he call me that? If you are endorsing people with a history of destructive behavior toward black people, you're a fool if you're black and you endorse that. And you're immoral if you're white and you endorse that. That's what you are. Because the policies of Bloomberg, the policies of Biden, the policies of Trump are all the same policies. That's just what it is. And you cannot prove me wrong. You can get mad all you want to, but you cannot prove me wrong. What we're going to do is we're going to roll a clip of Biden, who is a person that a lot of black people want to beat Trump. Okay? Roll the clip if you can, brother director. And we're going to let Biden's words speak for him.
We must take back the streets. It doesn't matter whether or not the person that is accosting your son or daughter or my son or daughter, my wife, your husband, my mother, your parents. It doesn't matter whether or not they were deprived as a youth. It doesn't matter or not whether or not they had no background that enabled them to become socialized into the fabric of society. It doesn't matter whether or not they're the victims of society. The end result is they're about to knock my mother on the head with a lead pipe, shoot my sister, beat up my wife, take on my sons. So I don't want to ask what made them do this. They must be taken off the street. That's number one. There's a consensus on that. Unless we do something about that cadre of young people, tens of thousands of them, born out of wedlock, without parents, without supervision, without any structure, without any conscience developing, because they literally, I yield myself 3 more minutes, because they literally have not been socialized. They literally have not had an opportunity. We should focus on them now. If we don't, they will, or a portion of them will, become the predators 15 years from now. And Madam President, we have predators on our streets that society has, in fact, in part because of its neglect, created. Again, it does not mean because we created them that we somehow forgive them or do not take them out of society to protect my family and yours from them. They are beyond the pale, many of those people. Beyond the pale. And it's a sad commentary on society. We have no choice but to take them out of society. And the truth is, we don't very well know how to rehabilitate them at that point. That's the sad truth. I'm the guy that said, rehabilitation, when it occurs, we don't understand it and notice it. And even when we notice it and we know it occurs, we don't know why. So you cannot make rehabilitation a condition for release. That's why in our system, there's the federal system, you serve 85% of your time. It's a shame, but we don't know how to rehabilitate. But there is a consensus, and I will cease. A, We must make the streets safer. I don't care why someone is a malfactor in society. I don't care why someone is antisocial. I don't care why they become a sociopath. We have an obligation to cordon them off from the rest of society, try to help them, try to change their behavior. That's why we do in this bill. We have drug treatment and we have other treatments to try to deal with it. But they are in jail, away from my mother, your husband, our families. But we would be absolutely stupid as a society if we didn't recognize the condition that nurtured those folks still exist, and we must deal with that.
95% of your murders and murderers and murder victims.
We're back on, okay. Now,
You can just take this
Biden,
pass it up.
that was in Biden's own words. Okay, he said that he doesn't care what their background is. He doesn't care that they didn't have what they needed to be properly socialized. He doesn't care. And he said they got drug treatment, but they're in jail, they're off the streets. Okay, now we all know that with the opioid crisis, where that looks to be more, at least the media portrays it as more of a white thing, and it is more, even more of a white thing, that these people need help. But what did Biden recommend for our people? Jail. Get them off the street, take them out of society. You do 85% of your time. He doesn't believe in rehabilitation. You can't rehabilitate. And he said that they caused the problem, you listen to his words, through neglect. But just because we caused the problem, hey, we still got to get them off the street. He doesn't care. If you listen to what he said, now when he comes around to Louisiana for the Democratic primary, he's going to talk about how much he cares. And all of these people are going to talk about how much they care. But when he was on the floor of the Senate, what did he say? I do not care. That's what he said. So when he comes around and says how much he cares, play the clip for him. You said you didn't care. You said you didn't care. And that's really how you felt, because that policy was the policy that passed. Now, this is one of those ironic things. I've got to point out the irony to us. It may not be an irony, it may be by design, I don't know. But it's interesting that 3,100 people, only 3,100 people are going to get out of jail as a result of the First Step Act signed into law by Trump. Okay, only 3,000. Keep in mind, we got over 1 million brothers in jail. Talking about 3% of the problem. So you're going to deal with 3% of the problem and call that a victory. If you go to a doctor and that doctor eliminates 3% of your cancer, you are still going to die. Do you understand? I mean, Rush Limbaugh is in a battle for his life with advanced lung cancer. I want you to ask him, do you want them to reduce your tumor by 3%? Is that what you want? There are over 2 million Americans in jail, people who live in the United States in jail. Over 2 million. You're looking at really 1.5% of the overall mass incarceration problem if you take it in the aggregate. So would you want your diabetes to go down by 1% or 1.5% or 3%? Or would you want it to go down by a more substantial amount than that? So you got to add stuff up. 3,100 people getting early release as a result of the First Step Act. In a nation where 2.1 people are actually in jail, and in a nation where over 1 million black people are actually in jail, mostly for non-violent drug offenses. You're going to let 3,000 people out. Here's the thing. For those 3,000 people that get out, it means everything to them. I get that. If you're the one dude or the one girl that gets out, and you're free and you're with your family, I'm not going to cheapen that, because that's very important to those 3,100 people. But understand, it's a drop in the bucket. It is a symbolic gesture. It is not a real address to the problem of mass incarceration. It's a token, a little small. It's almost like putting down $1, okay, on $1 million problem. All right, that's what it is. You got to look at it in proportion to what it does in proportion to the problem mathematically. And all you need is arithmetic. 3,100 to 2 million total, 3,100 to 1 million blacks. You already know what the percentage is. It's not substantial. But for those who do get out, now here's the thing I'm going to say. Under Donald Trump, more people are going to get out of federal prison than got out under Obama. That's ironic. It's shameful, especially when you consider that a president has the ultimate pardon power. The president can let everybody out of federal prison that he wants. He can wake up tomorrow and say, give me the names of everybody, I'm letting them all out. Barack Obama did not have to leave Kwame Kilpatrick in jail. He did not have to leave the Cuban Five in jail. He did not have to leave all of the political prisoners who have been there since the 60s and 70s because they were fighting for justice. There are Black Panthers in there. There are members of SNCC in there. There are members of the NAACP in there. There are all kinds of black people languishing in prison because they were framed in the 60s and 70s, and they are still in jail. And Barack Obama let them stay there. And don't tell me he didn't know they were there, okay? We're just laying it out there. What did you get for your vote? A good feeling. What did you get for your vote? You got a good feeling. What did you get for your vote? A wonderful feeling and a beautiful image of a beautiful brother and a beautiful wife and 2 beautiful daughters in the White House. But at the end of the day, the house was what is the house called, Brother Director? The White House, right? That's what it was, and that's what it still is now. Now, Michael Bloomberg. We got some audio where he is saying that black people commit all the crime. We're going to roll that. And he was the champion of stop and frisk, which targeted blacks and Latinos, and he defended it up until the moment he wanted to be president and realized that he was going to need some Negro votes. Now he's apologizing, but the conviction of his soul is to go after black youth. You can take it and let it alone. And you would be a fool to support either one of those just so you could get Trump out. Because they're the same as Trump, and I'm telling you, Bloomberg is worse than Trump. And a Bloomberg Hillary ticket would be a more satanic ticket than Trump and Pence. Because both of those people are demons to the core. Bloomberg is a classist, neoliberal, right-wing, Zionist, dangerous man. He's worth $60 billion. And he feels like he can buy everybody and everything. And some of our black leaders are already flipping. He's already putting money in their thong while they dance on the pole of politics. You hear me? He's putting money in their thong right now, and they are shaking it for Michael Bloomberg. Yeah, I said it. They're shaking that butt for Michael Bloomberg because he's putting money in their political thong that is called a campaign account. I'm just putting it out there. We got to tell you the truth. It's 2020. We ain't got time to play with you. Michael Bloomberg is the John, and they are the prostitutes. Go ahead.
95% of the murderers and murder victims fit one MO. You can just take the description, Xerox it, and pass it out to all the cops. They are male, minorities, 15 to 21. That's true in New York. It's true in virtually every city. And that's where the real crime is. You've got to get the guns out of the hands of the people that get killed. So you've got to, if you want to spend the money, put a lot of cops in the street, put those cops where the crime is, which means in minority neighborhoods. So this is one of the unintended consequences is people say, oh my God, you are arresting kids for marijuana. They're Yes, that's true. Why? Because we put all the cops in the minority neighborhoods. Yes, that's true. Why we do it? Because that's where all the crime is. And the way you get the guns out of the kids' hands is to throw them against the wall and frisk them. And then they say, oh, I don't want to get caught, so they don't bring the gun. They still have a gun, but they leave it at home.
Uh-oh. Mayor Bloomberg here saying some things that you're not allowed to say as a Democrat. Not allowed to say it. People are calling it racist. I even saw, I believe, there have been people that have been Trump supporters.
What we wanted to do was to give you the audio of what the man said. And keep in mind, when stop and frisk, as it was being done in New York, was ruled unconstitutional, a violation of the 14th Amendment of Equal Protection, right? It was ruled that by a federal judge, and Michael Bloomberg went off on the federal judge, tried to discredit the federal judge, and has continued to champion stop and frisk. Now here is the twist to this thing. It's always got a twist. Whenever you're dealing with rich white folks who happen to be racist, you always got a twist. So Donald Trump, after it comes out that this guy Bloomberg is all for stop and frisk, and that stop and frisk increased 7 times what it was under his administration in New York, and that when it was declared unconstitutional, crime did not even spike. It was no connection, according to the data, between stop and frisk and a reduction in crime. But here's the thing, he continued to champion it. Now, Donald Trump, being the jackass that he is, okay? Donald Trump being the what did I say he was? A jackass. Being the jackass that he is, and this is a family show. If there are any children watching, please forgive Brother Darrell for saying jackass. Okay? But we're honest. Our children must know the truth. Donald Trump tweets out, wow, Bloomberg is a complete racist. Okay? Then he deletes the tweet because he realized, dang, I campaigned on stop and frisk myself. I campaigned on stopping young black and Latino males myself. I championed the same policy. Now I got to delete the tweet because now I look like a damn fool even more so. Okay? Which means that Donald Trump, get this, knows that stop and frisk is racist. That's what it lets you know. When he says, okay, Michael Bloomberg is doing stop and frisk, oh wow, he's a racist, then has to delete that tweet because he championed it. He knows not only that Michael Bloomberg is a racist, you remember the old saying, it takes one to know one. Donald Trump saw a lot of himself in Michael Bloomberg, who just a minute ago was a Republican, then became an independent, and now is a Democrat, or is running for the Democratic nomination. Now here's the thing, I believe the mayor of Houston, the mayor of Washington, D.C., a number of congressional black caucus members are flipping and now endorsing Michael Bloomberg, this racist man, this classist man, who literally defended racist redlining. And we're going to run the tape. If he stays in the race long, we're going to run the tape. Do you know his commercials are running in this state with black business owners in New York talking about how he made things easy for them? Now, here's the thing. Let's say a lot of this is a bunch of hype. But let's say you made it easier for me to do some business. But according to Michael Bloomberg, you throw all of the people that look like me that are young against the wall and throw them in jail. Out of loyalty to my own people, I don't give a damn about the business I'm doing. I'm looking at what you're doing to the least of these. That's what's missing. Okay? A vote for Bloomberg is a vote for destruction. It's a vote for a racist. It's a vote for something that's worse than the Klan. A vote for Bloomberg is absolute stupidity. And the idea that Bloomberg could come in Louisiana, run a few ads for you, and you don't analyze, and all of a sudden he's up in the polls in all these states, and all he did was spend some money. See, that's all he did. And get a few people who flip for money to endorse him. Okay? Like the Honorable Louis Farrakhan said, all politicians bow to money. And that's what's going on here. These people they're acting as prostitutes, strippers on a pole. And as I said before, Michael Bloomberg is putting money in their thongs right now. All right? As well as Biden. But Michael Bloomberg has a few more dollar bills than these other ones to put in the thong. So I just wanted to lay that out there for you so that you know what's going on. God is our only friend, and unity is our only solution. Our prayers go out to the family of the child that died in New Iberia. Whenever these senseless killings occur, we don't care the color of the hand that pulls the trigger. We want black people to live, whether it's a white cop or somebody who's black like us. We don't want any of us to be killed, okay? We are balanced in our perspective here.